Hey, Coach, so excited you found us on YouTube. Couple things. First of all, go subscribe. We put a new video out every day. Not everyone will be the one you want, but it will give you a notification. Hit that little bell. Second thing is go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Videos, resources, mentoring, office hours, one-on-one calls, you name it. We've got it. Let us help give you some banners and put them in your gym. Let me help you do that. Go over and check it out, teachhoops.com. Let's head off to the video.
For this one. All right. The Basketball Leadership Podcast. Welcome. I was laughing here as we're coming on because the topic today is communication strategies for leaders. We could write a book. We could write a book on this probably.
There's so much that we could talk about with this. I think, how do we train our kids to be great communicators? And I think first and foremost, we have to model it ourselves. No different than we're going to do that for our kids. We have to do it for our players as well. So how we communicate with kids is incredibly important. I've had numerous conversations where you got to have that trust with your team leaders where they can come talk to you and say, hey, coach, I'm dealing with this. I'd like to get this solved internally, player to player. You got any ideas, got any thoughts on how I can handle it? And I think that relationship is really important to have with team leaders so you can have that conversation and train them and talk to them how. A couple just important nuggets that I'll throw out there and then you can dive in.
Before we one other thing before even before we jump into this, as someone that's taught for 35 years, it is really hard for them to communicate with you as an adult to a student. I had a kid's injured, came in today. He's a junior. He's going to probably have surgery. He's going to be out for 6. I mean, that was a really hard discussion for him to have with me. Like, oh crap, is coach going to cut me? Am I going to make it? Yep. Oh my gosh, should I have surgery? Should I not have? It's like, and I sat him down. I said, the most important thing is you get healthy. We'll deal with everything else once you get healthy. We'll figure out that stuff. But and his mom sent a nice email about I want him to be able to walk when he's 40. It's like, of course I do. It's like, that's all we want. I don't care let's get healthy first. But unbelievably hard. And he probably did a B- on the communication. I got a lot more from mom, but he attempted. By the time he's a senior and he walks out of the building, he's going to be so much better at it. So I think when we talk about this and coaches are listening, that's a really hard, we might forget as the old farts, but that's a hard discussion.
It is. I think on that note, us as coaches, communication, you cannot run away from hard conversations. We have to be willing. And as a coach, you have to have those conversations. If you don't have the hard conversations, it's going to come back and bite you, number one. So complete honesty with kids, telling them where they stand, not giving them a false understanding of what their role may be or what their playing time, whatever it may be. You got to be incredibly honest. You're modeling that when you do that, but that's probably a whole nother episode too. But
it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm 12 days out. I'm going to have 2 very difficult conversations with 2 kids about where I see them. And they're going to be hard. I'm not looking forward to them, but 5 years from now, they'll appreciate that discussion that I had, no matter what decision they make. They'll appreciate that down the line. Most kids at least do, because they know, coach was at least honest. I don't agree with him maybe, or blah, 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 but he told me the way he saw it, and that's all we can do, I think.
Absolutely. And it filters to when you have those, if you ever have to have a conversation with a parent, but complete honesty is just important, and they don't have to agree with you, but your role is to be honest with kids. And I think they, need that. And as that ties into communication, we want to teach kids to be clear, concise, and positive when they interact with each other. So you're talking to a team leader, and being clear, being concise, being positive. Those are 3 simple messages we want to get. And one thing that I use, an acronym that I've used, is I've presented to schools a lot. or I talk with my own kids if I need to, is the Point Guard College PGC acronym NITE, NITE. I don't know if you've heard of that, but name, information, tone, eye contact. And again, it's just it's a tool that we can use with kids to teach them how to communicate with a teammate. Use your name. So you say, hey, Steve. And when you use a name is a spotlight. A name automatically gets the eye contact coming your way. The I is the information you want to share. The T is the tone you use. And then the E is the eye contact. And that's just a simple tool or acronym that we can teach kids to use as they communicate with each other. Hey, Steve, you did a great job in the weight room today. Keep it up. Name, information, tone, eye contact. Those are really the two messages I wanted to talk about with communication strategies. We could go really deep on this, but
no, I think that's, you got to keep it simple too. It's like, and that's such a PGC thing about like the name, and it's, as a teacher, it's like, it's the most important thing that someone has. Like someone says coach, and I'm in a huge crowd, I'll turn, or dad, or, Steve. Yep. It's like all those names that are so important. They just, you can hear them. It doesn't matter if there's 20,000 people. It's like, you'll hear it. No, I think all that is, I think that's difficult. I think you gotta kind of show them some of that stuff too. We do some small group stuff early in the season about that stuff too. Where, we'll make them do that. And especially when we go on road trips or we travel out of the state and we go places and we'll go to a restaurant, I'll teach them. If there's someone sitting at the booth, it's like, all right, so now your waitress or waitresses, every time you talk, I want you to use their name and say, blah, 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 Sally, thank you so much for the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it starts triggering. It's like, that doesn't feel comfortable. That's because you need to get in that habit of doing that, because it just makes people feel that you're connected, that you see them for what they are, but again, I think it's showing them some of those steps is so important.
It is. And, it just reminds us really what our ultimate responsibility is as a coach. And the basketball is fun, and that's incredibly important, but we're really teaching them how to be young men or young women, and how to act and how to communicate. And it all starts with ourselves. It all starts with us modeling how to communicate. It starts with us being clear, concise, positive, and doing those things. And ultimately that's our responsibility, is to teach them how to be good people. And communication, what's the quote? Where there's a lack of communication, negativity will fill that void. Whenever there's a lack of communication, and people start thinking, why, what's going on? I don't know. Negativity fills that void. And so as a coach, over communicate, but you have to be clear and concise. You can't
over communicate, but
it's this balance. And again, this is the art. We've both been at it 30 plus years, and it's something you learn over time. I mean, I can tell you as a young coach, I over communicated on, we did too much, and then you learn less is more. Yeah. And a great rule of thumb, I think, for a young coach is to keep things in groups of threes. Anything that you're going to present, if it's more than three things, it's too much.
It's too long. They won't remember it. I'm telling you.
They won't remember it. And
I have an offense. I have a youth offense. The rule of three offense is based on three things. Science shows that there's a reason your your social security is in three chunks. It's a reason that they don't give you a 7-digit phone number. It's like 3 and 4, because you can't remember. You got to chunk things. Otherwise they can't remember. It's like
our offense is spacing, inside out, shot selection. There's our offense.
Done.
I mean, obviously we have more concepts, but that's what we preach, keep it simple.
Yeah. Take a good shot. Yes. That's the premise of a lot of offenses. All right. Until next week, Coach.
Hey, Coach. So glad you enjoyed that video. Hope you did, at least. Let me know how I can help. Join Teachhoops.com. I've been through it all. I've won championships, got a lot of rings. Let me know how I can help you become a better basketball coach, too.